Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, a midweek Moment of Harmony special. I have scheduled everything to come on at 9 o'clock. And so I'm just a couple of minutes early. I don't mind getting started because I actually don't want to go over. But I definitely want to welcome everybody. Let me just do my soundtrack down a little bit more. Okay. My background music, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to a special Moment of Harmony at a special time in the week. I did not plan for the special to be this late. I actually was going to come on Monday at the beginning of the week because I did not do a moment all weekend. And I'll explain all of that in just a moment. But I was going to come on Monday, and then I had a comrade who went live on an interview with Dr. Mayat. Blessings and shout out to Dr. Mayat on her podcast, and I did not want to split focus of the community. I wanted everyone that is tuned in surrounding the recent events of the city of Baltimore and with my family. I wanted everyone to be able to support where they can, pour in their attention where it was necessary. So big shout out to Baba Disa and Dr. Mayat, and shout out to PLM altogether, and a plethora of other. I know Mama Ujima told me that they're tuning in and they've been looking in. Shout out to Mama Ujima. Shout out to all of African Village, all of the communities. There have been so many people to gather around, and if you are not privy to everything that has been going on more locally because you're watching me from somewhere else, don't worry about it. I'm going to bring us all up to speed, and then I'm going to get into tonight's special, which is winning back wellness. And again, even if you are just not tuned into the specifics of recent community events, it is totally fine that you are here. You are welcome, because we are going to just be talking about global wellness as it pertains to those of us seeking healing, growing, and discovering ourselves into better versions of ourselves. So, today's episode, or tonight's episode, is entitled Winning Back Wellness. And I haven't been extremely vocal about a lot of the things that's been happening more locally, but I'm going to bring it all together, because not even locally, we have the Nolan Wells situations. There's just so much right now, right? There's so much. For all my Cosmo heads, Mercury is retrograded, and it is leaving up out of retrograde tomorrow. And I'm just saying, I'm not putting anything on anything. I'm not trying to minimize. I'm just elaborating on the weirdness of this past couple of weeks. All of the traumas and tragedies, and us being able to come into a moment of harmony to breathe together. Okay? So, the first thing that I want to say is I did not come on this weekend, and I want to extend love and apologies to my faithful exchangers who are here every weekend looking for their moment. I got tons of text messages and inbox messages, Messenger and Instagram, where it was like, "Are you not going live this weekend?" And I told many people I'll be going live on Monday, and then I had to change it to Wednesday. So it's really not to run into our regularly scheduled moment, which is normally on the weekends on a Saturday or Sunday. So I did not do it last weekend. Excuse me. Here in the DMV area, in the city of Baltimore, there's look at me. See, trying to keep me. I've been fine all day. Fine at work. At home fussing at insurance, and now all of a sudden something is in my throat. Y'all know how I feel about it. We're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so in the DMV area, on July the 7th, in real time of 2026, my godfather, 74-year-old gentleman, warrior, was apprehended or was approached in a 7-Eleven parking lot on his way into the 7-Eleven with an attempted robbery. The video went viral all over Baltimore City, all over a platform called Murder Inc., as well as Fox 45 and other news venues kind of broadcasted this video. And also the mayor of Baltimore, shout out to Brandon Scott, also was, voiced his frustrations and posted the video again and again. Locally, citywide, it was a pretty big deal. The video depicted a 74-year-old elder man being brutally beat down to the ground by six young men. And it was devastating to watch, to for us to experience as a family and as a community. It's disheartening. Um, these young men um, approached my stepfather in order to we're gonna work through it, okay? They approached him in order to get his car keys, his vehicle keys, and his money. He refused to relinquish the items requested, and he was attacked. Okay. And again, there's a surveillance camera that sits over the parking lot of the 7-Eleven that caught the entire attack, and it was all over the place. At the time, my stepfather at the time, he suffered broken ribs and other abrasions and injuries. He lived. Okay, he lived. The attack took place at a 7-Eleven, the exact same 7-Eleven, where not only 9 years prior, my baby brother was exiting, followed, robbed, and murdered. Through over the weekend, there's been so many calls to action for support and community connectivity around this incident, and I attended those things, one of which was at the actual site where everything happened, also at the site where my baby brother was murdered, and it was just a lot. On top of that, a close family friend lost her child. Shout out to Trina. Yes, shout out to Trina. Prayers up for Aiden. She lost her 12-year-old in York, PA, to a accident, an e-bike accident where he was struck by a truck and on life support and passed away. Same week, right? Same week. And the events that aligned with those circumstances were in this same weekend, last weekend. So there was no moment. I was standing in solidarity with all of the community efforts. I wanted to support. I tried my best to support and show up in a community facet, and also in a family capacity. It was a lot. Okay, it was a lot for me. It brought up so much. It triggered so much. But I know that I owe it to my family, myself, as a community advocate, um as a conduit for my people, right? As a lover of my community and a mission here in life. I knew I had to still tune in, and we had to find healing, and we have to find resolve. Hence tonight's midweek moment special entitled Winning Wellness Back. When I've heard so much surrounding this incident, and this incident too is really coming up in all of the Nolan Wells things, and I'm hearing it all. Who is to blame? Whose fault is it? Why is this happening? Just pain, devastation, exhaustion, frustration, fatigue. I'm hearing it all. I'm feeling it all. And I just wanted to make sure that we had a win. I know people have to go to work tomorrow and camp, and I did not want it to be late, and I do not plan on going long. But once I got my bearings together, I knew that we had to have a moment, that the energy of society right now warrants and merits a very special and precious moment. So again, it is not my intention to keep you long tonight. If you are watching in real time, if you're watching me on a playback, get it in where you fit it in. You know what I'm saying? It is not my intention, but I do very much want to be spiritually aligned and balance and meiotic energy of the flow of what's been taking place societally, climatically. I just want us to be able to no victimization, no being so overwhelmed that we're paralyzed. And I want us again to have moments that work for us. So that's what today's moment is going to be, tonight's midweek moment special. Part of me was like, just resume your moments. Once you get yourself together, resume your moments on Saturday regularly, or Sunday, which day we get it in this weekend. But I knew that a call to action was necessary. And so, hence, here we are tonight on a midweek special moment. Winning Wellness Back. Now, for those of you, again, nowhere near, peace, peace, peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Hey, Mr. Carter. For those of you, again, nowhere near Baltimore and the happenings of it, I hope that you do just at this point have a general synopsis of the core of this moment for the next 60 minutes or so, right? Okay. Winning Wellness Back. We're gonna get it together. It's just a lot. I feel so much when it comes to the state of us and where we are, what we've overcome, and what we are still battling, and where we are to go next. When trauma and tragedies happen, I think we always are trying to figure out, how do we pick up after this? Where do we go from here? And I really want to encourage each and every one of us to go within together. Okay? And any other direction you choose is not the wrong direction. I'm not here to encourage you to say this, or to discourage you, shall I say. This is wrong or this is right. But I know that after all that I've witnessed, and I do want to give a shout out to my mother, who will also be giving another community call response for those that are in the DMV area this weekend in regards to the incident that was described earlier. So if you are still wanting to give support, you're still wanting to give love, there are still opportunities to do that. If you are talking more communal, in person, numbers, bodies, you know what I'm saying, those things are still taking place this weekend. I also have other things regarding, there's so much going on this weekend. You know, they're having the Families of Murder Victims Garden this weekend. So this moment of wellness, it's needed, okay? It's for all of us. And it is coming from really the very depths of my soul and my spirit and my heart. My genuine care for, and my mission work for us to heal and to become the greatest, extraordinary, well versions of ourselves in alignment with the meiotic balance of life and how it works. Okay? So, let's get into it, because I don't want to go over, but I do want us to take a perspective journey tonight as we again get into back getting wellness back. Now, I've heard so many perspectives on this particular incident, but again, globally, we have so many things going on that make us feel helpless, enraged, unsupported, unprotected, a loss of justice, and we're tired. We're frustrated with it. And I really want us to be able to get to a space tonight where we can look at this thing at all types of ranges that really not only help us digest it, but to help us transform our energy completely in ways that serve us personally, in ways that serve us communally, and that ways that serve us globally. Okay, winning wellness back. Winning wellness back. In the incident that was described earlier of the assault um, of my stepfather and his very brutal attack, um, I've heard people say it's the mayor's fault. It's the city's fault. Mind you, Baltimore City is one of many very violent, poverty-stricken cities. So, you know, people are saying it's the city, right? People are saying it's the community's fault, it's the adults' fault, lock the adults away. It sparked quite the outrage, and the things that happen in outrage, lots of blame, lots of pain, lots of shame, bars, right? And I'm and being on the family side of this, as well as being a long-term community advocate. um this thing came together for me in so many very intimate ways. And again, like I said, with the incident taking place in a already traumatic space for me and my family, the area that my baby brother was robbed and murdered at, it was just so triggering. And what has come to settle in my spirit, there's just no coincidences. I feel it is time for us to see this thing. It is time for us to see the climate. It is time for us to see this era and where we are as it is intended to be seen, so that we can do the real work that's very necessary, very much still. Okay. Winning back wellness. When I've heard all of the, this is whose fault it is, this is the reason they're doing that, I've heard that people feel like the assailants should be murdered, they should be locked up, their parents should be locked up. I mean, I've just, it's been overflow, right, of opinions, thoughts, pains, rage, rightfully so. Just an emotional flood of fatigue, of what I would like to call fracture fatigue. Just tired of being broken. Just tired of being um, um, pushed to the side. Tired of being damaged. Tired of being dysfunctional. Fracture fatigue is what I heard. It's what I'm feeling, right? It's what I feel. Fractured fatigue. Just the injury upon insult, upon damage, upon trauma, and so on and so forth. And I feel you. I see you. I hear you. I understand you. And I would like us to really go into a divine plane, because our power is not in the lack. Now, I'm not about to wish us all better. I'm not about to fairy dust us all into a positive thinking around the city and around the incidences of Nolan Wells and other losses and traumas that we are navigating. But what I do want us to do tonight is that as we navigate the symptoms of a sick society, which is prevalent and rampant right now, rampant, shall I say, all around us, as we attempt today in our moment to take a moment together to navigate the symptoms of a sick society, I want us to do so from a place, a scientific place, a strategic place, a place of resolve, and a place of clear vision towards wellness, wholeness, and healing. I don't want us to just beat up against a door or a brick wall, and then until we're tired and we're tired of yelling and beating, and then we pass out until the next thing happens. I want us to truly see and understand, and to begin implementing today, right now, tonight, ways to undo the ways that are not of us. That sounds crazy to you. Stick with me, stay with me. We're gonna just keep, I got you. I promise. Now, winning wellness back. Tonight's episode, we've taken a break from I Know July, which we've been doing throughout July, of the wellness series that we've been working through in 2026. We're pivoting. Again, tonight is a special, it is a midweek Wednesday moment, and we are going into this direction tonight. Okay, now, when we get into identifying the symptoms of a sick society, I feel like once we truly understand what is taking place with us, no sugarcoating, no we shall overcome and then we overcame, right? No whatever it takes to help us sleep at night, but real raw perspective into what we've gone through, the residual effects of it, and who we are today, and how it still strongly resonates with our reality today. Okay? And I feel like when we aren't clear on that, we are shocked that society is sick. We're shocked. And I feel like with a lot, yes, disturbed, you're a human, spiritual being, you should be disturbed. We should be disturbed by what has happened to Nolan Wells. We should be disturbed by what happened to Baba Ade. We should be disturbed. That's the name that that's we call my stepfather Baba. His name is Ade. We should be disturbed. We should be disturbed. Okay, no one is telling you tonight don't be disturbed. But being shocked, being alarmed, being blindsided, even that society is sick, is what I want us to really focus on. When we say, oh, put up more rec centers, vote for different political officials, harsher penalties on parents, rezoning, redistricting, when I think we throw these solutions at symptoms, they are redundant, they are counterproductive, and they are causing fracture fatigue. Okay? You are throwing solutions at symptoms. We've all been sick. Okay? This flu, a cold, whatever. Some of you had COVID, right? And when you have symptoms of being sick, and all people focus on are the symptoms of the illness, you cannot properly heal. Any decent, well-rounded, well-versed medical official or mom will treat the symptoms for comfort and then also attack the actual illness. When I talk about winning wellness back, I'm talking about the mind state that allows this anti-moralistic, this anti-spiritual society that would raise and create an environment where children will beat an elder down in the street like a dog in order to obtain whatever they are looking for. That is not bad parenting. That is not a horrible mayor. That is not a poor community per se. That is sickness, illness, unwellness in a societal operation. It's an expression. Okay? So let me back up a little bit because I'm moving like, my brain is moving. There's an African proverb that says, a child will burn down the village to feel its warmth. Okay? Again, this is not a blame at the community itself, at the village itself, but this is talking about the wellness of that which is most innocent, that which is most influenced or receptive or susceptible to influence. Right? This is, our children reflect us. Literally, they don't have enough wisdom. They don't have enough years. They don't have enough experience to know what to do and what not to do. I'm not saying our children don't know right from wrong, that they are retarded or stupid. I'm talking about spiritual, characteristic behavior. Okay? Our children reflect the condition of us. My baby brother, when he was murdered in that same area with a robbery, he was 19 years old. We're watching our children be murdered. We're watching our children murder. We're watching our children be incarcerated. We're watching our children be illiterate. We're watching a reflection of us, and they are expressing the symptoms of society. Okay, I'm gonna take it back a little bit, right? Because girl, you know what I'm saying? It just, all right. Um, I want to take it all the way back to the auction block, okay? To get back to this winning wellness back. And what I mean by winning wellness back. Who took wellness? Where's wellness? And why do we need to get it back? I want to go back to the auction block for those of African descent that were involved in chattel slavery, okay? Auction blocks, for those that, like, I know some people come on a moment and they're just like, hey, hi from Indonesia and hi from Europe. If you are unfamiliar with American history and the African experience, with there are many African experiences with American history, but particularly chattel slavery, right? If you're unfamiliar with it, auction blocks is where enslaved, kidnapped individuals were brought into other territories outside of their actual home, to be auctioned for sale, like the horses, like the cows, like the pigs, like the gold, the iron, or the cotton. Human beings that were dressed up, oiled up, and set on auction blocks to be sold, to be analyzed or looked over, tested out, and purchased, right? On those auction blocks, all those hundreds of years ago, what was sold was more than people. It was more than black people being sold, men, women, and children. It was more than people. What was for sale on those auction blocks was our culture, what was being bartered, what was being purchased, what was being imprisoned or captured, held captive, was our language. It was our understanding. It was our ways. There were our rituals. There were our traditions, our wholeness, right? All the things I just described are our wholeness. When I talk about fracture fatigue in the incidents of recent, I'm not talking about recent fatigue, right? We've reached full on exhaustion, but are we ready for that conversation? Maybe not just yet, right? It was our wholeness, the wholeness of a culture, the wholeness of a people, of a way of being was for sale. That's what was bought and sold on those plantation auction blocks. Now, one might say, why are we going 400, 500 some odd years all the way back about what's happening in the community today? What I am speaking of is a term that I've developed called root relevance, right? The root relevance, and again, this has come from years of my studies, my research, my work, okay? Root relevance is what I define as how something has come about, how it has grown, developed, ingrained, and what it sprouts to look like in every part of its growth and development. What I am referring to, again, as root relevance, is the reason I am bringing up auction block time, that era, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Carter. You're so right. We are symptomatically expressing unwellness. What we have witnessed of youth, of children, of young men beating an elderly man. What we witness, I mean, if I go down the list of what my family alone has experienced in the past decade of death, violence, murder, violation, and dysfunction, you would be like, girl. And I'm sure if anyone else with a platform has much to share about the despair, because it is not your family and it is not your community, it is not your city, it is the sick symptoms of this society. It is the symptoms do not isolate when disease is spread. Okay? Everybody that's sick, everybody gonna get it. And I'm not saying you're sick or I'm sick. I'm saying we all are surviving a very sick society. Now, root relevance. Harmony, why are you going back to the auction block? Root relevance is so imperative to the perspective journey I would love us to take tonight for the next 30 minutes, right? Because first off, there is a reason why when you go into the doctor wants to know your family history of illness and disease. They want to know who had cancer, who had high blood pressure, who had diabetes, and what proximity or relation are they to you. Why? Because it matters. Where you come from and what's been ingrained in your development or the structure of your beingness does not disappear. It is highly probable to show up time and time again from generation to generation. Trauma, pain, unwellness works that same way. What do they call generational curses? Trauma. Trying to think of the other. It'll come to me. But these things are trauma, predisposed, exposed conditions, historical probability that's dictating what may be going on with you right now. Yes, I can walk right into the hospital right now. I'm 40 years old. I get I get the ladies exams, and they want to know when I go get the ladies exam, do you have a history in your family of cervical cancer, breast cancer, reproductive? All they want to know, the history. This is before they examine me. This is before they take blood. This is before they get any images. They are already being able to decide what may be going on with me today based on my root relevance, right? The root relevance. Based on what I've encountered and experienced genetically over decades and decades and life lineages of time. Today, they want to know. Okay? And that is why when I go back to the auction block, I want us to not be like, girl, you trying to say the auction block has something to do with these little boys today? I'm not no more happy with these young men than you all are. I just am not going to beat a drum of insanity in a sea of sickness. And I'm not accusing anyone of doing that. This is just what I've decided in the way that I am choosing to see and understand not only this experience, but many of the experiences. I see them, and I'm not going to say that I expect them, but I understand where I am. And I understand the society that I live in, and I know what this type of unwellness produces. And until we all are clear on what this types of unwellness will produce, we will continue to think that if we follow the structure of this capitalistic society that says, worry about your own house, stay in your own house, put your own children through college, make all of this money, mind all of your business, and keep it moving, will continue to perpetuate that because that grows capital. That's not what grows healing. It doesn't grow humans. It doesn't grow connectivity, and it does not grow communities. And our communities are not growing, thriving, or well because so much of who we were was sold on those auction blocks. Our way, and Gia too. Shout out to PLM, right? So much of what we understood, so much of what we, again, our wholeness, our wholeness. There's always talk to why do black men leave their families? They are animals, they are lazy. I'm saying I've heard all, we know Charlie Kirk is gone, but I've heard all the rhetoric. I didn't expect anything less because the narrative shift is necessary for power and control. That's another story, right? But I've heard it. The animal you call a man who feels emasculated, broken, and berated to the point of defeat. That's the person you call the animal. Not the machine that broke the man, not the machine that used to take the man's baby straight out of the womb to sell, not the machine that would because I know it's YouTube, but assault a man's wife right in his face, sometimes assault him, his children. That's not the monster, but the monster, this is the part that I'm talking about when I say winning back wellness. The monster, you say, is the symptom. The monster is the symptom. What has to be wrong with someone that they could disconnect from their very own? What has to be going on in someone that they cannot produce or create for themselves? How many doors are slammed in someone's face, or how hard and big is a boot on someone's neck before they relinquish the humanity of themselves? Have they relinquished it? The monster that relinquishes humanity, or the machine that destroys it? Okay. To go back to the auction block is for us to be able, again, root relevance. What actually was sold? What was actually exchanged? What was actually taken? Now, of course, I'm using the auction block specifically. It works in this 60 minutes. But we know that over hundreds of years of chattel slavery, there was much more broken, beaten, stolen, ravaged, destroyed other places than just the auction block, okay? But I'm using that figuratively because there was a physical stripping, oiling, selling. There was a physical, literal stripping of humanity, dignity, and wellness. Our wellness, our wholeness. I had a coworker not too long ago, and I'm going to try not to get stuck in this point. And he was very earnestly, he was biracial, but he was earnestly trying to, I don't know why I always become the token, why do black people girl? But he wanted to ask me about why do black people waste their money on expensive things? How come they can live in ghettos, or they can live in lack or less than conditions? They don't own their vehicles, or they haven't paid for school, but they'll have on expensive shoes. And I had explained to him, now of course I didn't explain it to him quickly like I'm about to with y'all. Of course we took a lunch break, okay? But I had explained to him that when you are the product, what other way to prove that you are not the merchandise than to have all the merchandise? Symptoms. Symptoms of illness. Not illnesses that we are, illnesses that have been imposed, right? Okay. I'm running out of time and I ain't make it through. I'm trying to get it. Okay. Um, Me and my sister were speaking the other day about we have a friend that just had a baby. Shout out to Sabrina. And we were talking about just the trauma because we don't have newborns anymore. But we were talking about how much we don't hear really about the trauma, extreme trauma, and disorientation, uh, and damage that comes when you have a brand new baby. You're bonding with that baby, you're loving that baby, and you have to hand that baby off to go back to work. 2 weeks, 6 weeks, if you're very lucky, 12 weeks, right? And how traumatizing that is, and how society just treats it like normal. They want you to get back to work and you are literally leaking milk, or you're knowing that you have this brand new human that you have to leave with a stranger. If you're not so, maybe super blessed, another family member. But we talked about how the traumas, once we realized that this friend just had a baby and she's in our age range, we were just thinking of all the stuff we never want to go through again. And that was one of them. Torture. Okay, you and the baby rarely heal from that. It's hard. Okay. This is not a doula moment, so let me go into another. But we talked about that, and we talked about, and I said it hurt us. Our babies are, well, she had a baby after me, so she have a 3-year-old, but my baby is 7. Excuse me. If 7 years later we're still healing from those experiences, I have a 12-year-old. He was my first time having to have that experience, and he's 12, and sometimes I still just want to hug him because I feel like that was torture. I wanted to be there more for you. I said, if we're still healing, and we have had babies a long time ago, a while ago, and we were just mad about handing our babies over and then going to pick them up at the end of the workday, how or can imagine, can't even say no, the travesty of mothers whose babies were ripped from their wombs during slavery to be sold. People who came in to buy little babies that were 8, 9 months old, never to be seen again. And they weren't going to go live with a family that wish they could just have a baby and going to treat them good. They're going to a lifestyle that is anti-human, um, sadistic, and you can't even be there to protect them and care for them through that. We both were almost in tears just talking about our modern day issues as opposed to generationally genetic coding that is aiding in the triggering of certain emotions that we have. All right. When I go into the auction block time frame, I am saying that at that time and all of the hundreds of years to follow, every assault, every SA, every lynching, every injustice, I can't even, every buck breaking, every force feeding, right? I can't even start this close to going to bed, or I won't sleep. You know what I'm saying? So every travesty, for hundreds of years, have caused this fracture fatigue that I speak of, an unwellness. What we witnessed when it comes to whether like the Nolan Wells and our children aren't prepared still for the viciousness. No shame or blame to his parents. I have children that have been victims of crimes. But from all of the things, sending our children out into devastation, wolves' mouths still, shark waters still, to our elders not being able to go to stores, or our women not being able to be alone, or DoorDash, or our young men not being able to walk from point A to point B. These are all demonstrations of unwellness. We're not well. And people say, oh no, the communities are dirty and disgusting, poverty stricken. The children are illiterate. The schools are averaging at low scores. The parents are high. They're out of their mind. They're disorganized. And will still go to say that Black people don't care how they live. Black people don't know what's going on. All are symptoms of not being okay. um when we look at, they always say, like, look at someone's car, how filthy someone's car is, or go into someone's home that's a hoarder, or look at someone that's morbidly obese. These are all symptoms. These are all symptoms of a deeper issue of unwellness. Someone being touched when they were a kid, someone being ignored, abused, teased, a loss, a grief. There's a center core illness where all of these things demonstrate unwellness. Why does that work for every sick population, every unwell community dynamic, except for when it comes to us? Now something is wrong with us. Something is wrong with our leadership. Something is wrong with our children, our men. The men over the machine. The monsters are the symptoms. When we get to spaces that we are in today, where we are outraged, we're at a loss for who should be accountable, who should be responsible, what should we go to next? What I wanted to urge and shed a little bit of light on, because I only have an hour and y'all know I need to, okay? A little bit of light on tonight is what I feel like what I feel like we do collectively is we go for symptom relief. Again, more rec centers, symptom relief, harsher gun laws, symptom relief, policing, increased policing, symptom relief, right? We can lock up the parents, find the parents, symptom relief, parade and call out Black men in Black communities, and symptom relief, right? Symptom relief is not healing. With all that we've experienced, are experiencing, inevitably will experience without a shift in mind, body, and spirit. And I mean that as a collective. I don't mean your mind, body, and spirit. I mean collectively. Without a shift, what you are not going to get is actual healing. And I believe that we as a people have had no break. See, when you heal, you get hit by a car, you can't keep getting hit by a car in order to heal, right? You fell off a bridge, you can't jump off the bridge every day. You can't heal. What we've been accustomed to doing, rightfully so, is to stop the car from hitting us. It's to stop the bridge from falling from beyond under our feet. And we've called those solutions. We've called those answers, a direction to move into. And what we've missed from the auction block to now is the healing. Is it our fault that we haven't had the space and time and energy to heal? No. Shout out to the doc. I'm not saying things happen to us because we're Black. I'm saying things are happening to us because society ain't right. Okay? Paraphrasing. You know what I'm saying? Um, when when you don't get the chance to heal the fractures and the wounds, you will continue, which is what these young boys were doing, to exhibit symptomatic expression of unwellness. Our societies will continue. Our communities is structurally, we ain't gonna get, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna continue to experience it because healing is nowhere near on the agenda. And it's hard to put healing on the agenda again because we just want to stop the car from hitting us. And we've been put in such a position where victory is finding solutions to stop the car, but for the car, brakes for the car, helmets, padding. We want to just, and there's never the time. If you are sick and you only treat symptoms, you can rest assured your illness will return or never leave. If you have, my daughter just had pink eye last weekend. I had to take her to the urgent care. She got the ointment. If you are only taking things that make itching and burning stop, but there's no antibiotic, there's only just relief, you just doing a clear eyes drop, it's coming back or it's not going anywhere. This is understood in the structural dysfunction of oppression and capitalism. We don't have to end something that never stops. No one has to try to end something that never stops. We don't have to fight against something that self-perpetuates trauma, pain, unwellness. You don't have to keep, all you have to do is keep opposition in play, and the cycle will move like this. And then when things go badly wrong, everyone will point at this broken, you didn't stop the car from hitting me. You didn't pick me up when the car hit me. You didn't, everything but the car. Because we've become so preoccupied with stopping the car from hitting us. So that we can heal. And again, I think sometimes we just want it to stop. We just want the brutality to stop. We just want the dysfunction to stop. We just want back what was sold on that auction block. But we don't really keep in mind, none of that is coming back. None of it stops without actual healing. Without actual healing, how do we heal? Because I'm almost at 60 minutes, and I have so much more that I would love to elaborate on this subject. But I only have 60 minutes, and it's a Wednesday night, and I said I'm not going to keep y'all long. So, keep in mind that symptoms return, healing resolves, as I close out, right? Symptoms return, healing resolves. When we are seeing, people like to say uptick, but continuous dysfunction, these are illuminating overly apparent evidence that no healing is actually taking place. Now, our ancestors, those that came before us, our previous leaders, and those that have fought for civil rights and the advancement of Africans in America, have done great and wondrous works. I would never dare sit in my precious little primpy little home in my freedoms, okay, loosely, you know what I'm saying, and judge what someone did before me to get me here. what they did wrong, what they should have did better, and what they used to do, from the unspeakable, deplorable, disgusting, horrendous, sadistic operations of human destruction, of divine and spiritual obliterations. I would never, right? What I am saying is that without the ability to actually heal, it all returns. The lynchings, Nolan Wells, the mayhem, the children with my godfather, my stepfather. We kind of go back and forth with it. The mayhem returns, and it returns because symptoms return when illness is not healed, when our wellness was sold, or our wholeness was auctioned, fractured, broken. Our wellness was sold. Being in a position now where we are to win back our wellness, win it back, gain it back, grow it, return Sankofa, right? Sankofa our wellness. Go back and get. When we are in that space where that's necessary, it is not, again, the space of who are we gonna, not, again, we're talking symptomatically, not 100% in the space of who we gonna vote for next, and what we gonna do with this youth, and how we gonna punish each other, and how we gonna, I want to propose something seemingly simple. Seemingly simple. We are unwell because of immense and immeasurable pain and hardship, relentless and consistent and brutal. It has resulted in disconnection of who, what, and why we truly are, as amazing and incredible as we actually are. And I would like to propose, in light of the chaos that continues, of the residual effects of mayhem. You don't destroy people and get alarmed that people are destroyed. You don't dehumanize people and be alarmed that their communities reflect dehumanization. You don't exploit people and then be alarmed that their communities reflect exploitation. I would propose, because I could go, right? I would propose that our unwellness is rooted in pain, hardship, and destruction imposed. And that in order for us, those wonderful, amazing ancestors that have fought for rights, that have been lynched, burned, hurt, destroyed, dehumanized, in order for them to get us to this cushy space where I can freely come on a public platform and speak of our journey and our experiences and real resolve and solutions necessary, where we can get and go on Facebook and talk about the injustices and record people to get results and proof, right? For all those ancestors that have done what they've done to put us here. We now need to focus on, yes, stopping the car. We have ancestors that were the buffer for the car that doesn't stop hitting us, to allow us to heal. But I would propose that we win our wellness back. We begin to minimize pain and hardship for one another. I know y'all gonna be like, girl, this ain't no kumbaya. Can't we all just get along? I understand. It sounds whimsical. But how whimsical does it sound when all that was needed to destroy us was pain, misery, and dysfunction? How insane does it sound that restoration will reverse the symptoms of said imposed illnesses? This is what I'm proposing simply, that we minimize hardship and pain on one another. We minimize that. Children that beat, break, destroy, lack respect and order are bred in violent, deficit, devastated, desperate environments. I'm not saying we create those environments for ourselves. I know what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Don't give us nothing. We can't have nothing. Da 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 da. I'm saying they didn't give us anything, and we couldn't have anything. Nothing belonged to us that was good. We received the lowest end of the stick, the downest, most degraded versions of food, home, shelter, and humanity. And so today, when you say, can't get them nothing, they're going to destroy whatever you give them. Destruction begets destruction. And I'm saying that if we have been so devastatingly broken by the structural components of our reality, I believe that it would best behoove us to stop blaming each other for the brokenness. Stop attacking symptoms of brokenness and actually go on and get an antibiotic. Go straight for the cure. The cure is us, simply us. The cure, no, we're not the cause. We are not the cause, but we are the cure. If bacteria got you sick, antibiotic is the cure. See how that works? Same thing that got you sick can't be the same thing to get you well. Okay? So stop looking at all the same things that got us sick. All right. There has been no stop and no demarcation in our destruction since it started in this land in this way. There's been not one. We want to really judge ourselves and put ourselves on examination, under examination, magnifying glass for what we've been able to accomplish and become. Yet there's been no pause from the auction block to this very moment of destruction, dehumanization, and oppression. I was literally just watching today where a woman walked into an emergency room. I watched her whole video today with sickle cell. She had full-blown, I have the sickle cell trait. I'm anemic. She has the full-blown sickle cell disease. I have the trait. I know what it does to you. Just the trait. Just the trait mixed with some anemia. She had the full-blown disease, sickle cell, which leaves you in excruciating pain regularly, right? Amongst other symptoms. And she went into the emergency room, a darker complected woman, black woman. And the doctor came in the room with an attitude. Came in the room annoyed by her need for relief. And she expressed her symptoms and she talked about what normally she needs to relieve her of such strain, pain, discomfort. She wasn't the most articulate. She definitely wasn't dressed like she came from the Upper East Side. Okay? Um, Advocating for herself was not the strongest suit as far as putting on to be respected, apparently. But she was genuinely in pain. And I'll tell you how I know, right? Um, and the doctor said he dismissed her. He talked about all of his studies on anemia. He talked about all of his certifications and his years of dealing with patients in the ER, and how he feels like the drugs that she was asking for pain relief, she was just trying to get high. 10 minutes in a room, 10 minutes in a room with a complete stranger who's lived in her whole body with a whole disease her whole life. In 10 minutes, he not only ignored her, discredited her, accused her, shut her down, and labeled her a drug addict. 10 minutes. That's today, right? It is today. We just got the Crown Act. That's where we could go to work with my hair like this and not be considered out of compliance. My own hair that grows out of my head, that wearing it the best way that it grows out of my head. We just got the first black mermaid, Disney princess, right? Just might go back to Princess Tiana a little bit. We're just scratching, scratching for what you, I'm not going to say you are, what society is trying to believe or have us to believe, that we have arrived, that we are healed, that we are good, we are well, and whatever harm is being caused now is coming from us. It has never stopped. It is never. There's still more lace fronts than this. I know y'all gonna say we do it to ourselves. Y'all do it to yourselves. You do your own selves up like that. You do your own makeup up like that. You make your own self something different. Then has nothing to do with there being centuries of Barbies and media and propaganda against the beauty of nature in Black women. Nothing to do with that. It's just today, right? That wasn't in Baltimore, Mr. Carter. I don't know if it was in Baltimore. I just watched the video. I didn't even really know where it came from, but I do know that an actual doctor of color was narrating the occurrence, and he stated that what the woman asked for, I wish I could think of the drugs that she asked for. I think Delula, I'm gonna mess it up. But one, she asked for a drug that started with a D, and she asked for Benadryl, and she asked for the combo of them. And the doctor accused her in those ways. And the reason, and for those who are not watching in real time, Mr. Carter came on, he asked the question, and I'm answering it. And Mr. Carter is the homie, okay? But he came on and he said, so what the doctor was saying is that the first drug she asked for normally causes itching, like a lot of high volume medications that cause itching. It could be skin itching, irritability, or crawling effect to the skin. And Benadryl is normally administered with it in order to calm down the sensations that are uncomfortable and overwhelming. One for the actual healing, one for the symptom. Because any person in their right mind heals an issue by attacking the issue and then the symptoms. But we are symptom focused. And my plea on a Moment of Harmony tonight on this special is for us to move away from being symptom focused. So that doctor was able to prove that what she was asking for was actually common for people with her condition, because one drug causes side effects that the Benadryl fixes. And because she asked for Benadryl, that was what the other doctor of another persuasion focused on as why he assumed she was a drug addict and would refuse to give her any relief. But I brought that story up because it is not yesterday. It is not lifetimes ago. It's not centuries ago. It's not decades ago. It's not generations ago. The illness, I mean, the illness. The illness is right now, today. Therefore, the symptoms reign supreme today. And what we are witnessing in the devastation of our realities continuously are symptoms of a much deeper, darker illness. And we are not the illness, but we are the cure. And if we could focus on minimizing the pain and the hardship of one another. I'm not saying that it's not done. We don't have amazing organizations out there for the youth and for single mothers and for incarcerated parents and for food and resource management and distribution. I'm saying more. Throw more love. What was taken from us, what was sold on those auction blocks, were our community ritual living and lifestyles, our tongue, our nature, our understanding, our ways, our dignity, our respect, our chastity, our sacredness. Those are the things that were ripped. And another word that kind of sounds like ripped that I'm not going to say on YouTube. And we need to go and get our wellness back. Sankofa our wellness, and our children will stop destroying us. And our communities will stop devouring themselves. Go get our wellness back, our wholeness. Minimize pain and hardship. Children that eat, that are nurtured, that eat 3 meals a day, that are taught and cared for, catered to, and read. I got a house full of them. You read to them, they grow up as kind human beings that acknowledge other people as human beings. Women that are protected, that are bountiful and resource, are loving. They're gentle, they're kind, they're nurturing, they're productive. Men that are who keep power intact, that are never stripped of dignity and integrity, protect naturally. They provide without instruction, without interference. Nature moves in a way. In Jiegetu, you are not the issue. We've been infiltrated. We've been interfered with. And it is time for us to Sankofa, go back and get our wellness. We have to win wellness back. You want to win the community back? You want to win the children back? You want to win back in the day back when communities cared and neighbors shared and so on and so forth? Win your wellness back. The wholeness that you never gave. That you never gave, first and foremost. You never gave it. But we must and will, and get my words together, go back and get it. I love you all. I am praying. I am working. I am illuminating. I am creating. I am shifting around us regularly, through us, for us, with us, within us regularly, because I love you that much. I love you that much. Um, and I know you love me back. That's why we gotta go and win this wellness back. Hey, bars. Thank you for sticking through. Mr. Carter, you've been here 75 minutes. Okay, you. Okay. And anyone else, I can only see him because he comments. Once you comment, I can see. But if not, and you're watching, I can't see. But if you've been here, you've been doing it on a Wednesday night and you gotta go work tomorrow, that is love. Okay? I love you so much. Thank you for joining me for this Wednesday midweek moment special following tragic events of so much. I can't even say Baltimore because Nolan is on the list. There's so much, right? Thank you for showing up for a moment, and let us go ahead and get back to being well. Let's get back to being well. It doesn't have to be as big as the next president. It doesn't have to be as big as the next. Let's every one of us dedicate ourselves to our wellness regain, our way, our thinking, our understanding. Let us reset our wellness, um, and let it radiate. All right. There's so much more I want to say, so I won't get off, but I'm going to let it go because I just want to really expand what that looks like practically, what that looks like spiritually, what that looks like operationally, because I don't think I've even scratched the surface on what I mean by saying co-friend your wellness. But maybe another moment at another time. Um, I love you. Take really good care of yourself, right? Go on out your way to take really, really good care of yourself. And after you've done all you can do for you, go on and take really good care of someone else. I will see you for our regularly scheduled moment. I think because of the way this weekend is looking, it's gonna be a Sunday moment. Just give you a heads up. But I will see you. Yes, Mr. Carter, and thank you for that. You got it. I need that's what needs to happen because an hour just isn't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I'll see you next week. Next week, this weekend for another Moments of Harmony.